Okay, let's do it. Let's get right into it. Gervonta Davis claps back at Shawn Porter after recent interview with Bill Haney on Shawn Porter's podcast, The Porter Way. Some things were said, and Tank Davis decided to clap back. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. I'm going to tell you what went on. If you gained any value from this video, hit the subscribe button. So, Shawn Porter has a podcast on YouTube. It's called The Porter Way Podcast. He had a special guest, Tank Nemesis, the Haneys. It wasn't Devin, but it was Bill Haney. Bill Haney came on the show, spoke his truth, and the topic of Tank, of course, came up on that show. And there was a segment, and I'm just paraphrasing. You guys can watch the actual clip on Shawn Porter's channel right here on YouTube. But basically, the conversation came about with Gervonta Davis, and Shawn Porter chimed in, and he said something to the effect of, I really don't see that fight happening between your son, Devin Haney, and Gervonta Davis. He then goes on to say, I think Gervonta Davis would try to have it at a catch weight of like 138-ish and weaken Devin Haney. And basically for this reason, I don't see the fight really happening. It's not a fight that I'm banking on. This clip leaked. It was on the internet, and guess who seen it? This clip was seen by none other than Tank Davis. He says, now ask Shawn Porter this question. If I beat his ass in the gym and he was over 147 pounds, why the F would I be scared to fight a MFer with just a nose? Ish is not adding up. Shawn Porter responded, and he said, I was going through my own ish, LOL. But that's neither here nor there. I'm on record for saying the fight doesn't happen and why. I do my best to keep it 100 without completely exposing the business. Quiet is kept. Neither one of y'all want the fight right now. End quote. So I seen a lot of fans on the internet, and they were like hyped that Shawn Porter had made that statement. But then when Tank got at him and said what he just said, what I read, it sounded like Shawn Porter tried to nice it up a little bit. And he says, quiet is kept. Neither one of you guys want the fight. So, I mean, there's that, because I seen people were happy. Listen, I've already told you, I don't think the fight will happen next. I'm not saying it will never happen, but I don't think it'll happen next for many reasons. I mean, for one, see, here's the thing with boxing, and I'm just going to keep it real. You can listen to me or listen to whoever you want. There's a lot of people in boxing, and they're COINTELPRO. They're like chaos agents. That's all they're here for. They don't care about the best versus the best and all this stuff that they say, because if you truly were a stickler for that and you truly cared about the best versus the best and all this like hooting and hollering, then you would have a rule, and that rule would be applicable to everybody. But we see time and time again, that is not the case. It's a rule for certain people and certain guys. Like, people will say, oh, so-and-so Jamal Charlo's been inactive. But then Virgil Ortiz was on a 15 to 17 month layoff with Golden Boy. They don't say nothing about Virgil Ortiz, but leave it to PBC fighters and black fighters. They all about that, you know, Jamal Charlo. The other thing, when we're talking about a Devin Haney, I was at Devin Haney's last fight. Devin just fought in December, and he moved into a different weight class. They're not even in the same weight class anymore. So that weight would be something that has to be decided. I understand that Tank Davis is saying his piece. He's saying, hey, I fought Shawn Porter and I whooped him in sparring. Why would I be afraid of Devin Haney? I don't think he's afraid. But again, that has to be something that needs to be deciphered. What weight, since they're not exactly in the same weight class. But beyond that, Tank is on house arrest. And it's funny because people are saying, like, I even seen Devin Haney. Devin Haney said, His Excellency said that he wanted to try to make the fight in Saudi Arabia or something. And Michael Benson posted, and Devin Haney responded, he can't leave, he can't leave the house or something, basically saying he's on house arrest. So if that's the case, how are people saying he's ducking if he's having issues with the judge and leaving the Baltimore city limits? I mean, when he can't even have an official training camp, it sounds like, outside of Baltimore, and I don't know that he wants to train for a major fight at arm's reach, So there's different things like that. But beyond that, Tank fought against Ryan Garcia, and then he had some legal trouble he had to deal with, which we all knew about. The Ryan Garcia fight is, I don't remember the exact month, April, July, whenever it was. So in a couple months, it'll be a year out the ring. So that's another reason why, with the new Amazon Prime deal, PBC has not, as of me recording this video, they haven't announced their schedule. I highly doubt your next fight would be to fight. I mean, that would be literally what Errol Spence did. Errol Spence hadn't fought since the Ugas fight. Weight hadn't been in the ring for like 11 months, a year, whatever. And then he fights Terrence Crawford. And that's just foolish for anybody. It doesn't even have to be Devin Haney. Like, I know what I'm saying is hard for some of the idiots to comprehend, but you would never expect Canelo Alvarez, like, let's say when he was beefing with Golden Boy, let's say the beef and the legal stuff took Canelo out of the ring for a year. You think he's going to come back and fight anybody top with that being the case? Like, he's going to come back, fight even a Crawford off of a year layoff. I mean, we don't even know if he'll fight some of these top names with activity. So would Canelo fight David Benavidez and he ain't fought in a year? Would he fight David Morrell and he ain't fought in a year? Like, I find that highly unlikely. So it's funny that people are pushing for Tank to fight Devin Haney next. And I'm just telling you, it's not going to happen next. You guys can say whatever. And it just proves Tank's star power when his name is always mentioned. But before I continue, a word from the channel sponsor of today's video. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work. And we are back. Shawn Porter. So if you're just joining, make sure you guys subscribe. I'm the #1 source in boxing. Been covering the sport over 10 years. Hit the subscribe button. We working. So the situation is this. Shawn Porter made comments about Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis potential fight. He said he didn't think it would happen. Explain why. Gervonta seen it. Gervonta, went in and said, I beat you up in sparring. Now, I got to add this. I would be remiss if I didn't speak the truth on my channel that I built from the ground up with you good people. Subscribe. But the funny thing is, you literally listen to Tank Davis and what he said on that tweet. He said, why would Shawn think that when he was over 147 pounds when I sparred him and whooped him? And then Shawn Porter's response is, oh yeah, but I was going through some ish at that time. So basically, the way I interpret it is what Tank Davis is saying is true. And this has been a long-standing rumor. See, let me put this in perspective like only I know how to. Shawn Porter sparred Gervonta in the Terrence Crawford camp. So right before he was about to fight against Terrence Crawford, right? Shawn Porter sparred with Gervonta Davis. And if you remember, he was doing interviews at that time and he was raving about how sharp Tank Davis. He's like, he's a good fighter. He's sharp. And there was a lot of rumors that were circulating, and it was basically suggesting, at least that I heard it, through my boxing circles, they were saying that Tank kind of got the best of Shawn Porter, right? Then you look at the Shawn Porter fight with Terrence Crawford, and he retired on the spot, you know, right after Crawford stopped him. And then people were mad, and it was like, quote unquote, controversial. Why did Kenny throw in the towel? Because, yeah, Shawn Porter got hurt or dropped maybe, but we had seen him hurt and wore back versus other people. Like Keith Thurman probably hurt him. Errol Spence definitely hurt him and dropped him. So why was it so quick to throw in the towel? And if you listen, don't take my word for it, but if you listen, Kenny Porter made it sound like this was like almost premeditated, or it was a foregone conclusion. He said something to the effect of, I knew before the fight that it may come to this, or something to that effect. And people were like, what? And he was like, Shawn wasn't listening to me in the preparation. He wasn't doing what I was asking of him in the training camp, yada, yada, yada. Shawn Porter corroborated that and said, yeah, my dad wanted me to do certain things like swim or run or whatever, and I didn't feel like I needed to do some of those things. But again, this all coincides with what Tank Davis is now saying. So, I mean, imagine fighting a Terrence Crawford if you let a smaller guy like Gervonta and he was getting the best of you in sparring. I mean, like, Gervonta is not someone you should spar right before your fight. And then as a bigger person, like Shawn Porter fought at 165 before, like in the amateurs. So if Gervonta Davis did get the best of you, that's going to hurt your confidence entering in a fight with another great fighter like Terrence Crawford, right? So it sounds like there's some truth to what Gervonta is saying. Like, I know somebody got that tape. Somebody probably has a tape of it. Shawn Porter says, let's make one thing clear. I want to see all the 4 kings mix it up and get in the ring. Make it 5 kings. We can't forget Shakur. The best fight the best, period. I mean, people keep saying this best versus the best, but to me, all that stuff is a fallacy. The business got to make sense. You make it make sense, then the fight can happen, period. You know, but I found this interesting that when Tank is like, basically, I whooped you in sparring, that's what he's saying to Shawn Porter. You didn't really have a denial from Shawn Porter. The only comeback is he said that's neither here nor there, and I was going through my own ish, LOL. So that leads me to believe, because I know if a person lie on my name and said, oh, da-da-da-da, and it's not true, then your boy Ego is going to correct the story. Like, nah, I didn't go down like that. Stop playing. You know what I mean? I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section if you would allow somebody to lie on your name and you would just be cool with that. So I don't know. From the outside looking in, it looks like Tank Davis is telling the truth. As far as the Devin Haney fight, I mean, his name is being mentioned by everyone, so is nothing really new under the sun. I said what I said. I truly think Devin Haney would likely fight someone else, you know, like a Sandor Martin. Sandor Martin just signed with Top Rank. We'll see. You know, maybe they have to do a co-promotion. Devin did spend time with Top Rank, 3 fights. Maybe he stays with Eddie Hearn, and Eddie Hearn and Top Rank work it out, and he fights his mandatory. I could see something like that. Tank fight, not happening next. Book it. Let me know how I did. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Best in the business, and it's really not even close. So hit the subscribe button. You dig.